In this guided session, we're going to work through how to make a new project. A project is something that we define as some definite piece of work, some kind of task that you would like to accomplish, such as it could be writing a paper, or reading a chapter or article, or preparing a presentation, or even something around the house like cleaning your room, which is what I'm going to make my project right now. And the idea is that the project lets us plan the task in advance so that we can really do it at our very best. Okay, so let's get started. Go to your dashboard and you'll see projects there, and right underneath you'll see new project. So click on that. And then it brings us to the page where we get to set the project up. And you'll see there's a place where you can type in the title. So type in the title, whatever you would like. And I'm going to call mine Cleaning Room. If you want to be able to find this again sometime in the future, if this is the kind of thing you'd like to repeat, then it's good to name it in some specific way. So it could be Econ Paper number 1. And next we have goals, process, and steps. Let's talk first about goals, because that's really the most important part. So what is a good goal? A goal is a requirement that must be satisfied to complete the project, which is what it says there. Goals are really what it means to finish this task very well. It's really the definition of done. And goals are important because they contain the challenge. They motivate us to work at our best. You could have levels of goals so that there's a basic, and then it gets higher and higher, raising the bar for yourself in what this task looks like. So let's see. I'm going to go through and make my own goals right now for cleaning the room. And the first one I'll have is all surfaces are clean and clear of clutter. It's a very basic, good starting goal. Number 2, now that I'm going to raise the bar a bit, what does it look like to do this really very well? And I think maybe if I were to rub my finger over the shelf or the pictures, there would be no dust. And so that's my next goal. Rubbing finger over shelves and pictures produces no dust. And the third goal, I'm going to say that a quarter can be bounced off the bed. Okay, that's like an A+. So that would be the really height, I think, of cleaning my room. Now, good qualities that goals should have is that they're very specific to the task you're about to do. So it can't just be do good work or something. It has to be something very specific to this task. And also, they're limited. They're defining the scope of the task. So I'm not going to be repainting the room. I'm not going to be, it's just, no, I'm just going to be cleaning it. They're achievable and can be answered yes or no. So you can check them off. So I can, at the end, go through all surfaces are clean and clear of clutter. Yep, check. And rubbing finger, yep, check. And so on. The goal has to be things that are within our own control. So they're the things I have control over. That's essential if it's going to be really a good challenge for us. And the other thing is a goal needs to be complete, that the only things that I really need to finish would come within these goals. And I think that's true for the ones I've set. So now take a moment here to make your own goals for the task you're about to do. Great. Now we can move on to the next step, which is the process. Now, the process is a reliable and efficient way to achieve the goals. And if you were going to tell someone your approach to doing this task in one sentence, what would you say? So I can tell you, let's see, for my cleaning the room example, what I'm going to be doing now, my goal would be to start at the top and work my way down until everything is done. There we go. So you want the process to be something very simple, But it's also how you prioritize your efforts. It keeps you from going down rabbit holes. So if I were to start reorganizing the sock drawer, well, that's not exactly what I had in mind here. So I really am just working from the top down. Or if at some point I don't know what I'm supposed to do, like where am I in this project? Oh, then I just go back to this process statement and it reorients me and it gets me right back on track. It's kind of, again, it's the nugget that contains your whole approach to how you do this. And good processes really take repeated uses to refine. So it's like a strategy that you're developing. I think for now, the goal is just to aim for something very simple. And now take a moment to type in your process. All right. And now we get to steps. Steps are what are going to pull us into the task. They're really crucial for us to be able to attain flow. That way our mind knows what's next, and then it can pull us to that next step rather than to some unrelated step that's off task. When we get good at taking down projects, even simple ones, and then breaking them into steps, we find that it's easy to start any size project and we don't ever get overwhelmed. We also can make very good use of small bits of time because sometimes we have time for just a few steps. So the key skill here is breaking bigger tasks into smaller ones. Here are some guidelines for steps. One is, even for simple things, I think that there needs to be basically 5 steps. Try to see how to break down the steps so that also each step is about equal in time. You can also do sub-steps by using tab so that if there is one that's more time, then at least each sub-step is about the same amount of time. And clearly they're sequential, that you finish one and you're going to check it off. Maybe even while you're doing it, if you're at your computer, you're checking off the steps as you go through. That each step should be pretty clear that you know how to do it. I would just say, be careful to watch the verbs that you use. The verbs should be very clear actions. And then I also like to put in time limits or my time goals, that each step I'm going to say how much time it should take, because that's how I know how to prioritize that step. It's a very different thing if I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to review some resource before starting a paper, or I'm going to give myself 5 hours to review the resource. The steps are also flexible. They can be moved around, and you can add them as you're going through the task. So now I'm going to go through and make my steps for this project. And my process was to start at the top and work my way down. So that's pretty clear then what the first step should be. I'm going to use a wand to dust the corners of the room. And I'm going to estimate that that'll take me 2 minutes. Okay, the next one, I'm going to wipe the picture frames, the shelves, and the lamps. And I'm thinking that takes 3 minutes. And then next, remove clutter from desk. And then remove clutter from dresser. And each of these will probably take, I'll give myself 5 minutes because I have to put a little bit of order in that. And then I'm going to dust all the surfaces. Make sure the bed is properly made. And following my process, I'm going to keep going down. So next thing is remove items from floor. And then the last one is vacuum. Okay, I'll give myself 5 minutes to vacuum, and these other steps will be just 2 minutes each. Okay, so I've made now steps that will take me about a half hour to do. And so now I know how long this is going to take and the order I'm going to go through it. And now what I'd like you to do is make steps that you're going to use for your next project. And whenever you're ready, you can click on the next thing, which is how to work with focus.